And French cement maker Lafarge has pleaded guilty for supporting ISIS and other terror groups. The firm paid millions of dollars to the terrorist group to keep a plant operational in Syria. It's coming at a time when terror group was engaged in torturing and kidnapping Westerners. Lafarge has agreed to pay $778 million in penalty on this case. U.S. Department of Justice describes it as the first case of its kind, and further accused the company of turning a blind eye to activities of the Islamic State.
Lafarge and its Syrian subsidiary have admitted to engaging in criminal conduct that constitutes material support to terrorism in both legal and practical terms. And there is no justification, none, for multinational corporations authorizing payments to a designated terrorist group. Such payments are egregious violations of our laws. They justify maximum scrutiny by U.S. authorities and warrant severe punishment.
The firm opened its plant in Jalabia near Turkish border in 2010 following a $700 million investment there. But a few years later, they had to evacuate the plant as the ISIS took control of the town and the factory. American prosecutors said that Lafarge's Syrian subsidiary paid ISIS and Al-Nusra Front some $6 million to protect staff at the plant as Syria's civil war intensified then. The company's actions had already been investigated by French authorities and took place before its merger with the Swiss company to form world's largest cement maker. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Listen her.
French cement company Lafarge SA was fined over $700 million for doing business with the Islamic State and the Al-Nusra Front in Syria from 2013 to 2014. Lafarge agreed to the fine and pleaded guilty to one count of conspiring to provide material support to a U.S. designated terrorist organization. This is the first time a corporation has faced such charges. Lafarge began operating in Syria back in 2010. That was the year that the Islamic State swept the region with a brutal campaign to establish its extremist, quote-unquote, caliphate. The U.S. designated the Islamic State and the Al-Nusra Front as a terrorist organization, threatening tough penalties for any individual or corporation doing business with them, rather than withdraw from the country like all other organizations and corporations had done. Lafarge decided to stay and do business. According to the U.S. Justice Department, it also paid access and protection money to associates of the Islamic State and the Al-Nusra Front and made some $70 million in revenues during that time, with one executive saying that the cooperation was aimed to, quote, share the cake. Lafarge still faces a trial in France for complicity in crimes against humanity. Back in May, a French appeals court approved the charges. 8 executives, including the former CEO, all are expected to stand trial. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION now available in your country. Download the app and get all the news on the move.